Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start this show off the same way we start every episode off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us truly does mean the world to me. On that note, Tanner?
How's she cotton me loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
And we're back. Tanner, that was a huge yawn, man.
Yeah, I'd be yawning all day.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, I'm really excited about this guest that we have today because I really haven't spent any time with this gentleman. I'm about to learn a lot about him, and I know he's running for council, so I can't wait to hear all about that. As you guys know at home, I don't introduce my guests because they can do a better job at that than I. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody who you are and what you're all about?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex McKenzie, and I'm running for council for one of 6 seats on Ward 1. First off, I just want to say I really like how you do your shout-out first thing in the morning. I think that's fantastic. Most everyone, they go on there and go, thanks for joining. It seems so robotic, but you do a full shout-out. You say, thanks for joining. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. It really does mean the world to me.
I hope you keep that up. That's a nice little ad that you do right at the start to really thank your listeners for coming on.
You.
I'm not so thankful, but whatever.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah, there you go.
But you might be saying that you're tired, right? You've been yawning the whole morning since I've been here.
That's why everybody loves me, because of my honesty. So
Yeah.
It's best policy, right?
So, Alex, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know nothing about you, my man. How long you been in Fort McMurray? What's your background? Like, who are you?
Sure. So I'm originally from Edmonton, born and raised there. And through my work in 2007, I actually was offered to come up.
What kind of work is that?
So I'm in flow control. At the time, it was pressure relief. Anyone that works at the plants or refineries in the instrumentation world will be pretty familiar with that. Otherwise, it's probably, I get a lot of deer in the headlights for those people that are just not familiar with what I do.
Right.
But that's fine.
That's okay.
It's all good. It does well for me.
Yeah.
2007, I got an offer to come up and take over the company's operations here.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, it wasn't going to happen. The company flew me up, come up for a weekend or so, and I probably saw the worst this town had to offer.
Especially in 2007.
In 2007, yeah. We were staying at some friends' places. There was trouble on the street when we drove around. We were driving, me and my wife, down on Hill Drive, drug deal right in front of us, stopping traffic and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was not the best that this town could offer. So after we flew back, I said, no, that's not going to happen. Of course, I was prejudiced against the place because in Edmonton, that's what we all knew was Fort McMurray was just boom town, just crazy town, right? So I wasn't impressed, and it was my wife that said, you know what, the opportunity's good. Let's ride it out. Let's not let a bad weekend ruin it for what it could be.
That's
so, frankly, you could probably thank her for the reason why I'm sitting in this spot, because she's the one that convinced me to
smart women, man,
to come on by. Yeah. I've been here since 2007, so 13 coming on 14 years.
Okay.
And I'm really glad I did move up. It's a great town. It really is. I've done the best that I can do in my career. I've been given opportunities I'd never be given elsewhere.
Right.
To progress, and it's given me an opportunity to be more involved in the community where I normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I've lived here. I live down in Waterways.
Okay.
Wow. So
you've been through some stuff.
So just like you in through the fire, I walked through that road, walked those shoes too.
Yeah.
We had the flood last year, and even before the fire, there was some flooding. It didn't affect Waterways as bad. It more hit the lower town side by Home Hardware and such. But still, it's we've gone through as a community a lot of adverse events.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting worse. We just get hit over and over and over again.
Right.
But we're a tough crew.
Yeah, we are.
We are a very tough crew. That's what I love. One of the things I love around the town.
So I'm asking every candidate that comes in the same question. When you run for council, you got the spotlight on you, a lot of scrutiny. You're going to make some people happy with your decision, some people sad. People are going to look into your background. Why? What about this job is appealing to you? Why do you want to do it? Why are you taking on or trying to take on this huge position? It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Municipal government has always been something that I was really interested in, even from a little kid. So I was a little tyke. My whole thought was, I was one of those SimCity nerds, if you could imagine. Yeah. City planning and city operation always been an interest of mine.
Right.
But and I went to university to get into engineering for that role until I realized what engineering's all about. And some people might laugh at me or judge me or whatever, because I did the first year and was mic drop, not interested.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into flow control, because it was really, I had no plan B.
Right.
But that spark never really left me. What really activated me, to be honest, was after the fire.
Yeah.
As you know, there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Nobody really seemed to know what was going on.
Right.
And so being affected by the fire and kind of the shoe dragging that the municipality was doing, it started to get me activated. I said, well, maybe I should do something about this. It's something I know I'm interested in. It's something that I know I can make a difference in.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's time to do it. So I actually was a very loud advocate for the rebuilding waterways, for instance.
Right.
I spoke in front of council a couple times saying, like, let's go, get off the pot, if you may.
Right.
As you know, like, we had to sit for almost 6 months while they decide what they want to do in some of our areas.
That's right.
So, and it was very frustrating, and so that's what got me started into really getting interested.
Yeah.
There was a municipal election coming up, and it popped on my radar at that time. I'm like, well, I want to do that, but being an unknown, what are my chances?
Right.
So, like most people that really want something, you got to work to what you get. So at that point, I had applied for a few of the appeal boards that the municipality has.
Okay.
First one was the Subdivision Development Appeal Board, which is right up my alley, because enjoying and having a knack for that boring and dry land use planning stuff.
Yeah.
I figured that'd be a great start.
Yeah.
The municipality thought that was a great idea for me to join on board, so I joined.
Okay. Very cool.
And I very much enjoyed that. And that setting and atmosphere there's a lot of analogs to what you'll find on city council.
Right.
It was around the horseshoe before we all had to leave and was at home, and it was the same kind of environment, and it was something that I said, this is something I really like.
Yeah.
After the first year, I'd already got moved up and became the chair of that board.
Right.
In the meantime, I joined on with the assessment review board, and then most notable, or most lately, was the community standards appeal committee.
Okay.
Or committee.
Yeah.
And I use that as a great way to build that experience and know what is the requirements are, what it takes to be in that role.
That's a good approach, man.
So,
that's a really mature approach.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've learned a ton through being with these boards. I've met some amazing people that support the boards, and it's been overall a great experience.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if I do get elected, I do have to resign those roles, which I'm going to have a lot of sentimental value. I might even cry a little bit. Yeah. Maybe not outwardly, but it'll happen. There might be a tear or two.
Yeah, there we go.
So, and then with this election coming up, being on these boards has also introduced me to a lot more of the people in the community.
That's right.
And so at that point, it was approached, and folks had known it had been an aspiration that, I want to be in a municipal politics. And that would be the level I'd sit at, is municipal politics. I don't know if I'd be interested going any further up.
Yeah.
But they knew right well that was an interest. So I had been approached by a number of folks saying, you should do it. And in fact, it was a running joke when I got onto those boards amongst my friends. It's like, you start here, next stop City Hall.
Yeah.
So to me, it just felt like a natural progression.
Okay, very cool.
And then to your second point, your second question in regards to the scrutiny and being in the public eye, absolutely. I'm by nature a fairly private person, so getting out on Facebook, I've never been a social media person to begin with.
Yeah.
So getting out on Facebook and getting out in the public profile is a little bit new to me, but I'm embracing it. I'm getting lots of good feedback. And there's always a few people that just go out of their way to make a nuisance themselves.
100%.
That's the name of the game. They're trolls.
Yeah.
But I've heard there's lots of politicians out there that says, you're going to guaranteed to be upsetting at least 25% of the people at any given time.
That's right.
And there might be different people, but you're always going to have that chunk of people that are not going to like what you do.
That's right.
And I understand that. I respect that. And they're more than happy to have those opinions, and I respect those opinions. Nobody has to not everyone has to like me.
That's right. That's good. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. And if I can do something to change their opinion, then I'd be happy to do that as well.
You're going with your eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
There we go. All right, my man, we're at the part of the show. Tanner has his segment. It's called the Mac City Minute. I don't know what he's going to ask you, so I wish you the best of luck. Tanner, hit him with the Mac City Minute.
Alrighty, question number 1. What was your biggest misconception you had of Fort McMurray?
My misconception would be, so growing up in Edmonton, it was always that you go up there to work. It was a dirty place, couldn't do nothing, just full of roughnecks and folks that are just destructive. So again, my first impression kind of emphasized that, but it was very quickly after moving here that that was not the case. So I would say that is it right in a nutshell.
Question number 2. What is one way the community influenced your choice to run for council?
I would say that it's just the support. The folks that support me and know what I'm about. They know that it's a job that I can do. So I've heard that there's some folks that say, well, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because other people do it. No, I'm doing it because I want to do this. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure that I can do the best for my community. And I have folks and I have friends and supporters that are there to back me as well, just to keep me focused.
Question number 3. What is your favorite part of living in Fort McMurray's oldest neighborhood?
It was the history. Unfortunately, we've lost that to the fire. There were still old cabins from the old settlement times that were down there, and it was just the unique nature of the way that it had developed, and it was more of a natural development. I'm sure it was planned to some extent, but it was very much just a hodgepodge. You would expect to see that as a little out-of-the-way small town near ghost town in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But here is this lovely little community in Waterways that was right close to everything, but it had its own unique character. Now, that being said, it's regrown, and I've got to know so many more people in the community because we've gone through so much, and there's so much new that's being built amongst the neighborhood that it's still fantastic. It's still a great place to live. I like it as well because it's small. It doesn't have the hustle and bustle of being in the city, but still being in the city.
Right.
I'm close to trails. I'm a stone's throw away from trails behind my house. I'm close to going hiking. I'm close to a lot of my friends and stuff like that. So it's a great community, and I'm glad that I did move down there.
Question number 4. What is one way you think Fort McMurray is better than Edmonton?
The ability, the opportunity that people have here. There is so many great opportunities for people to come up, build their careers, build their skill sets, and an environment that is very supportive. There's a lot of it's high stress. That's what we do in the industry and stuff like that. But you can come here and really do well and really progress yourself a lot faster than Edmonton. Plus here, it's close-knit community, so I get to know people on a lot more personal level. Like, for instance, on my street, we know everybody on the street. It is absolutely the best. Yeah. In Edmonton, growing up in Edmonton, I lived on one street for 13 years growing up and barely knew my neighbors. So there's that sense of community. Amongst many things, those are some of the greatest things that I like about here that are better than Edmonton. Mm-hmm.
And your final question, what has been your favorite part of campaigning for your spot on City Council?
My favorite part, that's actually a great question. My favorite part is the ability to get out and network. I'm getting to meet you guys. I've met so many people in the community, business members, industry partners, and folks that have a lot of folks that really want to see our community grow and build and get past the current slump that we're in. And there's a lot of energy right now. There's a lot of desire for change. And I feel that I can definitely be part of that change. And I want to support those people.
And those have been your 5 questions.
Wonderful. That was pretty easy, actually. Yeah. I've seen some of your questions, and you've left some people a little bit stunned.
It's usually the goal.
Yeah.
I just have to say, initially, I was going to come in with 5 canned answers that were completely irrelevant. So, like, the first one, I was just going to say, well, Tanner, my favorite food is pizza. Oh, wait a minute.
That would have been
what was the question?
We're never mad about food answers, though. We love food here.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of food.
Where's your go-to place to eat out, then?
Right now, it's been 57 North.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the favorite one in town with my family.
There we go.
What do you get there?
Yes.
Anything on the menu?
Yes. Just menu and just kind of do a circle. Done.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do what Elliot does and let the server order your food.
Oh, that's interesting. There at least you do well. You're guaranteed to have a good bite. I don't want to discount it. All the places have good food. That's been the go-to lately.
I've been doing that for over a decade now, rolling the dice. I very, very, very rarely order my own food. Yeah.
It's an interesting approach. I've never heard anyone do that.
Yeah, it's. I used to be a recruiter back in the day, so I used to travel all across Canada.
Yeah.
For weeks and months on end. So you get into a repetitive nature when you go to a restaurant. You're like, oh yeah, you order what you like, but when you're on the road for like a month, that gets repetitive. So I don't know. One day I came up with the idea of like, well, I'm not the subject matter expert at this restaurant. This person who's ordering the food or serving the food is. So I just say, I don't have any allergies. I eat anything. So if you were in my position, what would you eat right now? I don't want to know. And like, just don't be a jerk and give me the most expensive thing on the menu, unless that is what you want to eat, and then I'll pay for it. But yeah, I've never been let down.
That's really cool. I've done a lot of traveling with my career as well, and I've never thought to do that.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I just kind of get into that kind of that autopilot where
That's right.
I like to eat this or I like to eat
That's
that. Right. And it just kind of goes, and you don't actually get to explore what each restaurant, the niche, the fun dishes that they have that they like to, that's
right.
their signature.
That's right. And so you got to try tons of unique and weird stuff out. And I had this one guy who told me, he's like, dude, good move. And like and I was like, oh, thanks. He's like, no, man, now they're not going to mess with your food in the back. And I was just like, oh.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I never
like
thought
that.
about that. He's like, no, like now I feel invested. I'm going to go out of my way to make sure like that it's a banger when it comes out for you. I'm like, okay, even better reason to
That's stellar.
get them
I like that.
to order.
I'm going to do that next time I'm out and about. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, man. It's
100%.
a good thing. I've been doing it like I said for over a decade now. Never been let down. Even when like I had one waitress and she was just a young girl and she brought me chicken fingers with French fries. And I was like, oh yeah, sounds about right. Like, you know, like I like chicken fingers, but it's something like as an adult, and no offense if you are an adult and you order it, very rarely would I be like, yeah, I'm going to order off the kids menu. And she ordered off the kids menu. So.
And how much did you enjoy those chicken fingers?
Oh, they were delicious. They were
Exactly
delicious.
what you
So,
needed.
yeah, the most unique order I ever got, and we won't go into the long story, but a lovely lady in Cape Breton, North Sydney, got me a peanut butter and jam sandwich. Wasn't on the menu. Just was like, you look like you need a peanut butter and jam sandwich, and she nailed it.
Just that was exactly what you needed.
exactly
You
what I
walked
needed.
in, you're like, I don't know what I need here.
That's right.
And they come in,
Yeah.
there you go, and you look, you're like, that was exactly,
what I needed,
and you
yeah.
eat it with such conviction
right.
because it satisfies
Yeah.
that craving perfect.
A month on the road. I
Yep.
don't know how she knew. All like, boom. Just something
It's
from
no
home.
different than being on the road and then getting home and just having a bowl of macaroni and cheese
That's right.
made on the stove.
That's right.
Comfort
There's nothing.
food.
It's nothing
That's right.
special about it. It's just.
Yeah.
It's not a restaurant.
That's right.
I love restaurants, but at a certain point, it's like
Yeah.
enough's enough.
Tap out.
Yeah.
So, in regards to, we're going to jump back to you running for council just because that's why you're here.
Yeah, we kind of sidetracked.
We
there a little
sidetracked,
bit.
but that's what the show's about, man. I love the sidetrack of it. If you are to be successful and become a counselor, like what are you really going for? Like what are some like things that you want to address or want to see change in the community?
So I'll start off. I've got my platform in place, and it's easy to remember. Just remember them for our home, and that's home, opportunity, municipal governments, and environment.
Okay.
And on the Harmony side of it, we really need to work together as a community, as our council and administration with our residents, our industry, our businesses. There's been a lot of, whenever I'm out and about and I ask, and generally I'll start by asking, name one word that you would describe our council.
Yeah.
And then I go talk about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And it comes back, and then I say, okay, what was that one word? And it's always either adversarial or synonym of such. Infighting, agenda, all the rest of that stuff, right?
Right.
So on the Harmony side, we need to get away from the fight for everything.
Right.
We don't need to be fighting everybody to get what we need for our community.
Yeah.
We can work together with these partners. They want to work with us. That's the interesting part, is industry, government, even you and I, we all want to work together to make this
right.
place better. So why do we need to fight to get there? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So on the harmony piece, that's the big one there is let's work together. And never are we all going to agree on council on everything. And in fact, I'd be worried if everyone just ended up saying yes and it was always unanimous votes.
Right.
That would worry me more.
Yeah.
Because then are they even looking at the material or what's going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
So the other side of that too is there's going to be times where I disagree with the will of the council, and my vote would suggest that as well.
Yeah.
But I would still support my council as a decision making body.
Right.
And I may dissent, but I will publicly and openly say I support the will of the council.
Yeah.
The other one is just working with our municipal employees. Yeah. So one of the goals I'd like to see is to be able to proudly show on our trucks, all our city trucks, as a top employer, whether it's a top 50 employer in Alberta or any of those sort of third-party recognition programs.
Yeah.
I think that would be huge for the morale of those that work hard to make this place be amazing.
Yeah.
And give all of us a sense that we've got a solid municipal workforce.
Yeah.
This second point being opportunity is really tailored around like small business and making sure that we give them the tools to be successful. I've read over the last week or so, we've had 4 businesses shut down, 2 restaurants and some other stores. Like that actually hurts my heart to see that.
Yeah.
And what's there for support? It's been a tough year as it is. And I know that us as residents do our best to help, but there's still so much more that I think we can do to help them be successful.
Right.
And then the other part of opportunity is I think the municipality should maybe get out of the business of event planning to some extent. Mm-hmm. And let the groups in town build the events that are tailor-made, that are right-sized to the group that they're in, right?
Yeah.
We don't need a big grandstand, fantastic giant event for something that's going to draw maybe 100 people.
Right.
But the folks that organize that, they'll know exactly what they need to make that so.
That's right.
So it would ultimately be like an extension of the grant process that we have right now, but really give it some teeth to let people build those events that they need.
Yeah.
Moving on to municipal governance is really, this one's probably the simplest, is what we're doing effective for what we need in the community? If we don't know we're being efficient, then how can we show that we're being efficient?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a deep dive to look into how we do business to make sure we're doing business properly. And that could be anything from rewrite of the bylaws. There's some good work on that, by the way. I'd always used the noise bylaw as an example. It was written and used, I think it was from pre-amalgamation.
Yeah. And
it used terms like you won't make noise from 9 p.m. to the following fortnight.
Yeah.
Well, anyone that plays video games knows that's a video game. Yeah. All the kids are like, I play Fortnite all weekend. Sweet. I love it. Yeah. So it's been revamped in the new community standards bylaw. But that was my example, is that maybe it's time to let's rein in our policies. Let's look at how we do to make sure that how we operate as a municipality is right for what we need.
Yeah.
And then the last one is environment, and that's two-phase. One is to preserve what we have. We've got so much nature and so much great outdoor space that really needs the protection it needs. Mm-hmm. If it hasn't been touched by us, let's keep it that way. And although it seems counterintuitive, I'm also for increasing access. Yeah. So in terms of access, one of the hot ticket items is OHVs. I'm an avid OHV driver. I love my side-by-side, and I drive it whenever I get an opportunity to. Yeah. And I think that we need to look at how we can safely provide better access. Because right now we've only got 4 staging areas. Yeah. And if you think about it, like in Abbotsand, who's really going to want to load up, spend all the time to load up, to drive a block to the staging area? Perhaps there's another way we can do it. Maybe build some trails that people can use. And I personally think that if the majority of people will be respectful and use the facilities that we give them that are accessible, and they'll be respectful doing it. Waterways is a great example. People are ripping up and down there all the time. They're going through the park and all the rest. Why? Because they're worried about getting caught. If we let them, if we say, hey, you know what, you can use toll and drive, and just an example, this may not be the right way to go, just as an example, if you can use toll and drive, but make sure here's the rules, speed limit, you have to have all your paperwork in place, everything else like that, they're going to be more likely to use the facilities we give them to get out to the trails. And then they're not ripping through and tearing up municipal property, causing all sorts of safety issues for people that are using the park, and just and overall dangerous behavior because they're avoiding a bylaw that may not be appropriate in certain areas.
Right.
So, and then the other side of accessibility is working with the GOA to see if we can release some more land that's suitable for more lakefront lots or campgrounds or any sort of outdoor amenities, so that we don't have to leave the region even, to enjoy the outdoors. I hear so many people that have lake lots, so they got to leave the municipality in general. We got such a huge region.
That's right.
There's got to be some more spots that we can open up for that kind of development.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a whole lot to say there, but it's all you got to do is remember, I'm for our home.
That's right. There we go. I love it. Well, we're at the part of the show where it's your mic once again. You get a shameless shout out or a plug. I have to imagine I know what you're going to be plugging, but the mic's all yours, my man.
Well, actually, to be honest, I just finished my shameless plug over the last couple of minutes, so I'm actually going to do a shout out to all my supporters and the people that are out there keeping me on the straight and narrow and keeping my eyes on the prize and then going out there and saying that we like what you have to say and we want you to represent us.
There we go.
So that's my shout out.
There you go. Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Definitely appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, no worries,
I want to do it
man.
again.
I was about to say that. I tell everybody that. Come back again and again. I love having repeat guests, and we have a lot more to talk about in regards to what you could be doing on council and food.
Food for sure.
Food.
I love food.
Me too. So
perfect. I look forward to it.
Me too. All right. Well, everybody at home, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Once again, it means the world to me, so thank you. Hopefully you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.